Oh shit, we're live. All right, what up, motherfuckers? Welcome to Keyboard Warriors. This is episode 90. Is it 90? Oh fuck, it's 90. Dude, we're 10 away from the big 100. You all right there, Fred? Homie dying. That's what happens when you try to breathe out of everywhere at the same time.
Yeah, at least I know to hit the mute button, though. I'm a professional.
Yeah, you good. I got you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keyboard Warriors. It's episode 90. My name's Eddie Law. That's Fred Kirby. That's just Rebecca. Soon to be joined by Kyle Steele. And see what else goes on tonight. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight on this Wednesday evening. Real quick question because I forgot to ask: is Tough on already?
Not yet.
Better
Not
question.
Yet?
Who cares?
Well, no, I'm just saying. Oh, that's a good point. But it's saying like everyone's like tweeting out like Stipe's tweeting out pictures from the set and fucking DC's tweeting out pictures from the set, all that shit. But yeah. I was wondering.
I think what they're doing is they're just putting all those episodes in the bank, and then of course they start editing and all that stuff. So. Usually it takes a couple months before it comes out. I think we'll probably get it around like April or something. I think that season.
They probably done shooting though, or close to it. They it takes like a month or two to edit that shit. So
yeah. All right. So we were talking about before, and Jesse brought it up about UFC Austin this last week. If you guys didn't see it, I'm sure most people did see it. It was Sunday night card. Medeiros against Cowboys, the headliner. What was the number? The numbers you gave me there, Jesse, on who watched Sage Northcutt and who watched the main event? You're saying Sage Northcutt the draw of the card?
Yeah, apparently during Sage's fight was when they hit the highest ratings, which was over 1 million.
Yeah. And
then for the main event, of course, the awesome fight that all these suckers missed was like 800 and something thousand. So, I mean, kind of a big drop off. In my opinion, for such a great event and fight. I mean, those last two fights were pretty damn good, in my opinion.
Yeah. Overall, what'd you think of the card there, Jesse? Like overall?
Overall, I mean, I think I'm getting like kind of burnt out from watching the whole entire event. So I'm usually like in and out, hanging out with my family and stuff. So like I'll come in, watch a fight, a couple rounds or something. I think I even fell asleep during that Sage Northcutt fight. I think I was like in and out. So, it just, I don't know. It didn't seem like it was like one of those like cards where you can go back and say, yeah, you have to watch all these fights or anything. But I mean, we had some fights that were interesting. Some interesting things are going to come out of this, because a lot of matchups that people want to make for some of the guys that won, and some of the guys that lost, But other than that, I mean, it wasn't a must see, you could have missed this one. Probably watched what was on the NBA All-Stars or what else was on there?
Yeah, the All-Star game.
You could watch Fergie destroy the national anthem.
Dude, did you guys see? I know Fred's gonna talk about this shit on his podcast tomorrow. I'm pretty sure the national anthem. Did you hear that shit? I know we're off MMA. You brought it up. Did you see that shit, Fred? And what the fuck?
Oh yeah. That's that. Yeah. We're definitely going to talk about that tomorrow. Listen, she needs better representation around her, man. She needs somebody to tell her that. I mean, I'm being serious. I'm trying not to be funny right now. She needs somebody to tell her,
no,
you might not want to hit those runs on some of those notes, homegirl. Like, nah, bro, that was not.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking bad, man.
Let me jump in on this card.
Do it.
I'll tell you what this card was. Now, I don't think either one of you have watched The Wire. I carry on about The Wire constantly. But I'm going to use a nice little metaphor type similarity to a scene from The Wire. There's a scene in which in The Wire in which Stringer Bell is bitching out this young drug dealer. And he's like, you know what the situation is? It's like a 40-degree day. When it's real cold, motherfuckers remember it. When it's 10, 0, people talk about that shit. Right? Remember that one time when it was cold as fuck and it was snowing? When it's fucking 100 degrees, 90 degrees, it's so hot, motherfuckers remember it and they talk about it. When it's 60 and 70, it's starting to get warm, motherfuckers are barbecuing. But don't nobody remember a fucking 40-degree day. It's nothing. It's not hot. It's not cold. Nobody gives a fuck about it. It's brisk. That's what this card was. It was a fucking 40-degree day. Who gives a shit? That's why this card didn't do it. It's a bad card when Sage Super Shitbird Northcutt is the biggest draw on the card. Like, even the matchups weren't proper. For real shit. and me and Kyle actually discussed this Sunday on his podcast. I think this card was a real good representation of how bad we missed Joe Silva. And I'll tell you right now what I mean by that. I can make one switch on this card in the same weight division, and I think it changes the numbers. And you know what that switch would be? It'd be James Vick and Yancy Medeiros. You make Yancy fight fucking Trinaldo, and you let James Vick, who's the homegrown Texas boy on a good run, fight fucking Donald Cerrone, because they both got sexy names. I love Yancy Medeiros. I know he's a warrior, and his last fight with the Brazilian Cowboy was a fight of the year candidate. All that being said, for whatever reason, he ain't a draw. He ain't. And you saw it. Donald Cowboy is a known draw.
Yeah.
Yancy's so bad of a draw, he brought Cowboy down. It's the truth. Nobody wanted to see that fight. It didn't make no sense.
Do you think, sorry to jump in real quick, but do you think the reason that nobody gave a damn about that fight was because they were so friendly leading up to the fight? You know, everybody kind of knew that this was going to be a very relaxed, you know, kind of bro-ish, hugging it out type of fight. And, you know, you look around to the landscape of MMA, writing a lot of other MMA podcasts, and they're all talking about how, yeah, you know, the whole hugging thing, him jumping out and kissing Cowboy's mom, it was a little too much. Do you think that's the reason why people weren't interested in this fight as much as they would have been had Yancy done the whole Nate Diaz, you know, try to get in Cowboy's head, try to really break him down and, you know, really get in his face and really make this a nasty fight?
No. I think people don't really resonate with Yancy Medeiros for whatever reason. I don't think he's a star. Period.
You're probably right. I mean,
I'm just, and here's the thing too. Also, I think also those of us in the know don't have no real serious expectations for Medeiros as a title challenger.
Sure.
That's my thing. That's my thing. Even
fair.
if he had beat Cowboy, I wouldn't have really, like, if you put Vic in that spot and Vic knocks Cowboy out, I'm like, yo, James Vick, he just knocked out Joe Duffy. I mean, that's a conversation to be had. Even if Yancy had finished Cowboy, I'd still have hella doubts about him. That might be the start of something, but it just was not the right matchmaking. Matter of fact, it was terrible matchmaking.
Well, what, do you think? Oh, sorry, Eddie. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Do you think what?
No, I was just saying. Do you think it's because of the fact that James Vick is more of this nasty up and comer that really wants to get his own? He wants to get what's his, and he's calling it out. He's calling his shot. He's saying, "I want to fight this guy. I want to fight this guy. These guys won't fight me. These guys aren't, you know, willing to take a fight with me." And Yancy Medeiros is over here with a muffin top, you know, high-fiving and hugging and kissing old ladies. So then, I mean, that just, like you said, it just doesn't resonate with a fight fan, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's more of like, all right, I guess. I mean, this could be the you know, the first fight of the night, you know, some cool dude bros punching it out and then, you know, hugging it out afterwards, but not the main event.
Like I said, also, a lot of that has to do with just the fact that Yancy Medeiros' record is spotty. I don't think anybody had any serious expectations for it. And you know what? Hold on. Let me just get to this before I fuck around. We skip it. I was going to save this little shit for a moment, but let's just get to Yancy making out with Cowboy's granny.
The grandma.
Let me tell you something, Jack. If I can't stick my dick in your mouth, I'm not putting my lips on it. Nobody. I don't kiss my daughters on their lips no more. Nobody in my world gets my lips put on their lips unless I can put my penis in your mouth. If I can't put my penis there, we don't kiss on the lips. Not my dad.
Wait.
Surely not Cowboy's fucking granny after her grandson just starched me.
What in the fuck did I just walk into?
Kyle Steele, ladies and gentlemen, walking into the exact
Holy shit.
best part so far of this podcast.
Can y'all listen? I feel like Chris Crocker over here. Can y'all leave Yancy alone? Leave Yancy alone.
Powerful. Hey, powerful middle 2000s reference right there.
listen. Yancey's just trying to get some tail, and here you guys just coming down on him, man. Listen, if that's what he's into, that's what he's into.
He don't discriminate.
I thought it was a beautiful moment. I think you
Oh,
can
God.
share. Listen, I think you can share beautiful moments with people. And Fred, I'm not trying to thunderstrike you here. I'm not trying to shock you. I'm not trying to hurt you. You can have beautiful moments without jamming your dick in someone's mouth. So I just want to put it out there.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Wait.
I think you're all full of shit if you didn't think that was strange.
I thought it was weird. I thought it was
Okay,
weird.
Let me ask Fred this then. So those moments that we've caught like in the NFL where
Tom Brady.
what's that quarterback? Yeah, Tom Brady kissing his kid on the lips
For like
or
5
kissing
minutes.
his dad after he won the Super Bowl. Those moments are bad for you? Those are terrible moments for you?
Absolutely. I saw that thing where he kissed his full-grown son on the mouth.
That shit's gross as fuck, man. When he's making out with his son, I was like, I'm not into that. I'm not into that. That seems funky to me. I'm not gonna judge it, but also that's weird.
Listen, I'm sorry. This has nothing to do with MMA, but we have got to have this discussion right now. I'm sorry. When isn't it appropriate to stop kissing people on the mouth? Do you guys kiss anybody in your life on the mouth that you're not a lover with? I mean, there's something
besides my daughter. My daughter's 3.
Yeah, I kiss my little girl.
She's getting towards the fucking limit, though. I think the kiss on the lips is. I think at 5, the kisses on the lips stop, man. It's sensual.
I'll have to just see. I'll just have to see. I don't know if it is sensual. I mean, listen, this is a tough argument to have because I get it. Like I totally get it. And like, and is the line different for boys? And should it be, right? Like is kissing your 5-year-old girl on the mouth somehow different than kissing your 5-year-old boy? The love I feel toward my son is not any different than I feel toward my daughter. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I get it. I get that there's a weird line there. So I think he's got to play it by feels.
If you're touching lips on any of them, you're a creep. Kiss them on their forehead. Boys, girls, thinking of cheek, forehead,
God, this shit is
lips.
Off the goddamn rails.
Are we talking about a peck or are we talking about that Tom Brady 5-second hold your lips right on mine type of
see,
kiss?
That's what I'm saying. Pecks, I think a peck. Jesus, I'm glad you brought it up because that's the point to make. That's the point to make. There is a difference between a peck and a hold. The shit we saw in that video with Tom Brady, that was a hold. There's a difference, like especially you look in foreign countries. Like there's a difference between, hey,
do not look in foreign countries when having this discussion.
Sure. Okay, so with your kids, right? Like with my daughter, like there's a difference between like, hey, honey, and giving a peck. Like, you know, like there's nothing wrong with that. The shit that we saw in that video with Tom Brady, that was a hold. Now that there's a very short window where it goes from I love you, it's nice to see you, to we have some problems.
No, man, just give me a good hug and a handshake.
All right, hey, look, all right, real quick. I said, first of all, shout out to MMA Pixels and George Tremendous and my boy Daniel watching on YouTube. Daniel saying this, I'm disagreeing with your boy about the Austin card. It was a good card. And then he said, he asked why would Vic go to 170? And then after that, he says, your boy is jealous. He didn't get to kiss Cowboy's grandma. Talking about Fred.
That's what I'm talking about. I agree. I think Fred saw that shit and he said, I want to put my dick in that mouth. And
I think it's a fair question. Is Cowboy's granny willing to blow me? If so, then we can kiss. And I'll tell you another thing. I don't care what nobody says. That card was a 40-degree day. It was not a great card. Hey, I'm sorry. I stand by that.
To your point, Fred, you're not saying it's a bad day, and you're not saying it's a great day. You're not saying it's a terrible card or a good card. You're just saying it was a card. We saw some.
That's a good
some stuff happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not saying it's terrible. It was just forgettable. True.
Okay. Well, hey, look, fair enough, man, on that shit. The co-main events one also people were talking about with Derek Lewis and Marcin Tybura. That did not at all go the way I thought it would go. I mean, fuck, wasn't it Derek Lewis went for the first takedown? He had like a trip takedown back, you know what I mean? Like almost like a pancake of sorts. Put Tybura on his back, and then fucking, you know, there was a couple sweeps and all that shit. But to finish it by DK was pretty special. Now everyone's calling for Derek Lewis against Francis Ngannou. No wrestling, man. Throw hands. that being said, it's kind of a weird fight to think about.
Am I the only one that thinks that that's a crazy matchup for people to be thinking of? Because obviously Ngannou has no wrestling, and then you got the Black Beast that has at least some sort of trips and can take a good punch, apparently. So obviously the Black Beast is going to do exactly what it did to Tybura, just kind of lean on him and fall on top of him and then beat the hell out of Ngannou. Like, why are we trying to do this to Ngannou again?
I also think it's weird that everyone's pretending like if Derek Lewis and Ngannou fought, that Derek Lewis wouldn't go for take. Are you guys high? Of course he's going to go for takedowns.
First thing he does.
That's not going to be a fight you're not going to see those two guys stand in the middle and bang. Like, that's not like, but why do people saying that? I keep seeing it everywhere. Like, they're like, man, these two guys, like, they would really, let's give Ngannou a guy that's not going to try to take him down. The first thing that Derek Lewis is going to do is take Ngannou down. He's not, before one punch is even thrown, he's going to go take him down, or at least try to. Right. I don't think that this narrative that Ngannou somehow has no wrestling. He fucking lost to Stipe. Can we relax? Like, Jesus Christ, he fought Stipe. He's been fighting MMA for like a fucking 6 months. He just lost to Stipe. Like, holy shit, give him a break. You know, I don't think he has no wrestling. I think he got out wrestled by fucking Stipe. He didn't get out wrestled. He got fucking, I mean, listen, he clearly lost the fight. He still hung in there for 5 rounds. Didn't get finished by Stipe, which the two guys that Stipe fought prior couldn't say that, Verdum and JDS, and Ngannou sure can. So I want everyone to back off of Ngannou. I want everyone to stop talking about Derek Lewis fighting Ngannou. Let those two dudes coexist at least for another year here. And I also don't want people to be stupid that somehow Derek Lewis is going to walk in the center of the octagon and say, let's throw. That's what the fans want. He's going to take him down, or at least try to immediately. And if you think otherwise, you're naive.
Yeah, he goddamn should take him down. Fuck taking a punch from Ngannou.
Listen. I love this fight. Hate the timing. It's not the time for this fight yet.
Exactly.
The fact that they got a little bit of heat is even better. This is exactly what I was talking about this last fight card. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, I don't think we understood how vital Joe Silva was for this shit. Joe Silva was an OG. You build this fight. This fight right here, the Black Beast and fucking Ngannou could be huge. Right now, it's a good fight, but it's a fast money grab. Let these motherfuckers keep chirping at each other. Let them keep winning fights. At least one more fight a person, maybe 2 fights, though. Let this fight build, and then either let them meet for the belt or for the opportunity to fight for the belt. And if they're that good, they'll win their next fight or 2, and they should get there. Man, let Francis Ngannou fight Tybura next. You know what I'm saying? Like, exactly. Give him a name, but somebody we know he can thump. Give Derek Lewis, let him almost make a lateral move, another fight that's winnable. Let them keep chirping it. Like, you build these things, man. It's foreplay. What's it called? Endeavor now? Endeavor just be ramming it in the hole, man. They don't be getting us wet. Get these, warm us up with these fights, man. That's a good fight. I'm horny. Sorry.
I was like, what are with these sexual analogies tonight? He's like, I'm horny.
Oh, dude, no, that's Kirby all day.
He's also not a monster at 10 p.m. That's why he's all jacked up. He's fucking drinking a giant ass monster at 10 p.m. The hell are you doing, Fred? You're gonna have a heart attack. You're gonna have a heart attack.
No, but all right, look.
Wait.
Whatever.
I'm sorry to interrupt you before you make your point, but was not the greatest part of this whole card, which I know Fred already had a rant about it, was the fact that we had whoever was supposed to be on the button to mute the fighters' corners was asleep at the wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had Nate Diaz trying to point in a state where it's hell of illegal.
Dude, that
smoke
was
weed.
So fucking gangster.
Y'all don't know that was weed. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's not him saying, hey, look, man, allegedly as fuck. That's allegedly as fuck.
Jesse, you meant allegedly. Allegedly.
I'm sorry. Allegedly, he tried to light up a blunt.
That was not a black and mild with everything dug out and we put back in at all. That was not what it was. That was a black and mild.
Yeah, you have no idea.
That being said, that was fucking great. Huh?
It was a joint. It was a joint, anyways, wasn't it?
Look, man, let's be real. It probably was, but we don't know for sure. Again, allegedly. There you go. But the thing is, too, it was just great. He, put him on camera. I was like, oh, look, it's Nate Diaz. He's gonna do this shit right here. He's gonna, do this shit, and then he pulls it out, light her out, and then the camera cuts away quick.
Yo, yeah, Jesse does like.
That's
can you
UFC
imagine?
fault.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine the guy at Fox though? The guy at Fox is sitting there, right? All of a sudden, he's got the Black Beast talking about going balls deep, and he's like, "Oh fuck. All right, yeah, yeah."
Going deep.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Fucking Christ!" He pulls out a joint. He's got a lighter. Fuck. Cut to somebody else. Commercial. Jesus Christ.
That guy with the commercial was like, "I am so fucking fired. I am so fucking fired."
It's like, fuck that. I quit after tonight. I'm fucking out
hell
of here.
yeah. That guy,
UFC.
Oh fuck! Hey, seriously, it was like the best couple minutes of TV. But and look, Derek was like, "Hey, April, I'm coming in deeper. I'm going deep tonight." And like, what?
They cut right away from that to Nate Diaz. He sparks a joint. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
That was so good. That was just so good, and that's what everyone talked about for the rest of the night until Madero's kissed Cowboy's grandma. Then that was what Twitter was all about. Is making out with the grandma. So that's what it is. One more thing on this card here before it's a little free for all for anybody that wants to talk, for anything you guys want to talk about on this card. James Vick, man, ain't nobody want to fight this guy. Nobody wants to fight this dude. And I get it. He's tall, he's big for the division, but goddamn.
Shit, I get it, man. I that's a guy who at some point here I'm gonna have to stop questioning.
Yeah.
I thought he was getting a little too big for his britches, and he's clearly not. So I don't know. I can't imagine I'm gonna pick him against a top 5 guy, but your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta see him against top 5, a top 10 guy at least. What's for Ronaldo?
Top 5. Who's at 5 right now, man? Like, James Vick could very well share the octagon with a Justin Gaethje. I mean, I know he's lined up to fucking, or is he? No, who's he?
Yeah, he's Poirier here in Glendale, Arizona.
But yeah, both those guys. The loser of that fight. Give him the loser of that fight.
All right, so we go to lightweight. Lightweight, obviously Conor's a champion. Number 1, Tony Ferguson. Number 2, Khabib. Number
Conor's
3, Eddie.
Champion.
Right. Number 3, Eddie Alvarez. Number 4, Edson Barbosa. Number 5, Dustin Poirier. And then we get followed by Kevin Lee, Nate, Chiesa, and Iaquinta.
How the fuck is Nate?
One of those. Well, yeah, I don't know about Nate. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. But yeah, one of those cats though. He deserves one of those guys.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And I think he loses to most of them. I think he loses to Chiesa.
Fuck it. Yeah. Give him Barboza. I'm down with that. Barboza's coming off an L. Give me Barboza.
Shout out Dave Mann in the comments here. What's up, dude? Look,
clearly loses to Barboza. I mean, good.
I think Barboza takes him out. I think Chiesa will be a fun fight though.
Hey, it don't matter what we think.
Right.
But let Barboza prove that shit.
Thank you, Fred. I like how he goes from being all sexually riled up to being like, hey, get yourselves together. It don't matter what we think.
All right. Anything else on this card you guys want to talk about before we move on to Bellator? Good.
Nope.
No? All right. Bellator 194, headlined by the Grand Prix that was Mitrione against Roy Nelson. I think Mitrione takes that by decision. Mitrione took the first 2 rounds pretty clear, and then Roy Nelson decided to try some of the shit, double leg Mitrione on his ass, crucifixed him, and then lost the fight, and he was upset. First of all, who watched that fight?
Thank God he lost. That's what you get, fat boy, for trying to pull that horse shit there at the end and lay on him and big brother him. Be mad you lost. Fuck out of here with that shit.
Yo, at the same time, Mitrione was like, and I read somewhere that he went on the Nosy show. He was talking about sideways shit. He was being sideways. First of all, I don't even know what that means, but he was talking about he's being sideways. I'm not even going to talk about what he did backstage before the fight, like what I heard he did. Anyone hear anything about that? Because I don't think it.
I don't know. Mitrione seems to be all worked up. First of all, you won the fight, so
yeah,
chill the fuck out. I mean, you won the fight. I don't understand why he's all riled up. But he's talking about his toes being put in that Roy Nelson was putting his toes in the cage. First of all, fucking Roy Nelson and everybody else, like Jesus Christ, I ain't the first man to put his toes in the cage and move himself around. It wasn't even the only person in that fight to do it, because sure enough, Mitrione did it too. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. It sounds like he's either on some weird shit or he has something worked out with Bellator or Roy to try to push something down the line. I don't know what the whole, because the fight was close, so maybe he's trying to sell a rematch down the line.
Yeah,
I don't know, because now they're 1-1, so I don't know. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. I don't know.
And even then, let's say you go for a third one, I'm not gonna give a shit. Like, you got to make me care about that third fight, and I don't. You know what I mean, it's
yeah, I'm not interested.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, that's the heavyweight Grand Prix pictures up to this. So in the final four, I believe it's Sonnen and Mitrione, with Ryan Bader up next against King Mo, right?
Yeah, Ryan Bader, King Mo on one side. He's on the side with Mitrione. And on the side with Chael, it's Fedor and Mir.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, the less I give Mir a chance, even though it's Fedor. Like, Mir's like has like doesn't Mir have a job at ACB now? He's like matchmaker or promoter or something now.
Yeah, but he's been with ACB for quite some time. He's been a commentator. Yeah, he's a commentator for them.
Okay, I thought he was taking on like more work. I'm like, hey, dog, you should be training a little bit here. But
no. He's been a commentator with them for a while. They basically asked him to bring ACB to the States.
Okay.
You know, I honestly think that Frank Mir Fedor fight will be a very good fight. And I think it'll be very violent and end quickly. And I do think that Frank can win it. I just don't think he wins it on the feet. I think either Fedor knocks him out quickly, or Fedor clips him, drops him, and then Frank submits Fedor on the ground rather quickly. I'll give Frank this. First off, we haven't saw Frank fight in 2 years, so he might come out and look like a fucking washed up polar bear. But if he looks like anything like he used to on the ground, Frank Mir is one of the most dangerous men alive. Like, that motherfucker, look, he snapped Minotauro's arm like a fucking toothpick. That is no easy thing to do. Make no mistake about it. Yeah. Frank Mir on the ground is an animal. And I think he'll be a lot bigger and a lot stronger than Fedor. If they hit the ground and Frank has his wits about him, Fedor is going to be in deep shit. He ain't going to be pulling off no fucking arm bars from the guard on goddamn Frank Mir. He ain't hang that shit up.
Yep.
So I do kind of think he's going to get knocked out, Frank, that is. But, like, if he can drag Fedor to the mat, it'll get fucking... Actually, that fight on the ground is probably the most intriguing part of this whole tournament for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Fight-wise. Like, if Frank and Fedor start grappling, that's pretty intriguing. I think Frank wins it, but Fedor is not incompetent as a grappler. That could be very, very intriguing. Fedor and Frank on the mat.
Okay. Well, and you also have to say that, you know, again, you can't always do this, but I do enjoy doing it, which is, who does the promotion want to win? And I would say Bellator is much more interested in a Chael Fedor fight than they would be a Chael Mir fight. I mean, I think they would want a guy like Frank Mir to have some legs and to be able to stick around for a while, but the type of play that a Fedor Sonnen fight would get in a semifinals fight, you know, in some type of tournament, I think would be pretty vast. I mean, that could almost be a pay-per-view, right? In Bellator standards. I mean, and it would, I'd probably buy it. I mean, shit, why not? So yeah, I mean, that's what the promotion I think wants. So, you know, I'm always interested in those kind of things.
All right, Jesse, you could see the Mitrione Nelson fight?
No, I saw highlights of it because, you know, I didn't want to waste my time with some garbage Bellator crap. So I'm happy for everybody that did watch it. Congratulations, guys. You wasted your time.
I did. I watched the whole card. I did a companion for it.
Oh, did you? I just watched the main event, and I wasn't even live. I watched it after it fucking happened. Dave Madden says, I think Frank's daughter could give Fedor a run for his money. I didn't even get a kid.
Dave?
Yeah.
Wait to lose faith in Fedor. Fuck.
She's 15 years old, and she's going to try to do MMA. That's great, right? He's picking a 15-year-old girl over Fedor. Awesome.
I mean, you know, I would pick her over CM Punk, but
there you go. Speaking of ladies fighting, I still do think that Heather Hardy's super overrated, and everyone's kind of blowing her up. You know what I mean? But Heather Hardy winning over Anna Julatan, and I didn't see the fight. I saw the highlights, and she looked very unimpressive. So I know, Kyle, you watched the whole card. What'd you think of her?
Anna Juliton, the Anna Juliton Heather Hardy fight.
Just Heather Hardy as a whole. I think she's so overrated. I think I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. Honestly.
It's obviously the boxing stuff didn't translate over. I'll give them credit because I don't know if you guys know the story, but there's a whole history with them prior to MMA. They were both boxing at the same time. There was, avoiding each other, quote unquote. Then Heather Hardy goes over to MMA. She gets signed by Bellator as a 0-0 person, and they were gonna fight right away, and then again she got accused of running. So they finally fought in MMA with the plans of then boxing at the end of the year. Okay, so that was the whole build up to the fight. I was very shocked in the way that it went down. I would imagine I thought the fight was going to be a boxing fight. You know what I mean? Like I thought it was going to be a stand in the middle and slug it out. And instead, both of them took the kind of odd approach to grapple for 15 minutes, which I thought was very strange. But I guess it makes the boxing match that much more interesting because you really didn't get anything from the MMA fight to know who would win in a boxing match. So I don't know, man. It was just not a fun fight whatsoever. I thought the rest of the main was fine. I thought that was basically the worst fight on the card. I mean, It was really not good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen. Let me jump in here. I actually saw this fight too, and for those of you who have been watching the whole show and you caught my little 40-degree day analogy earlier, this was a fucking 0-degree day. I will remember this fight for eternity for its suckage. This was probably one of the worst fights I've ever seen before. I mean, it looked like two shitty white belts at their first week of jiu-jitsu practice.
It was two people who were really bad at jiu-jitsu who were so here's what it looked like. At any point, if anyone was even remotely competent in jiu-jitsu, somebody would have gotten submitted, like because Literally. They were leaving necks out, leaving arms out, leaving legs out. Like I don't fight. Clearly, I don't fight, and I was seeing openings. Like, just grab her fucking neck and drop to the ground. Like, what are you doing?
Well,
so it's bizarre.
Even when they were on their feet, not Heather Hardy, but what was homegirl's name she was fighting?
Anna Juliton, something like that.
Her whole strategy was to keep Heather Hardy pinned up against the cage. It was the most boring, shittiest, wackest representation of women's MMA ever. If I was a broad, I would boycott those broads and fucking despair and shame.
All right. Yeah. Look, it was an awful fight, and it's I wasn't surprised, and I've been over this Heather Hardy shit. Everyone was talking about like she's the next coming of whatever the fuck you're looking for, and no, she's awful. And not by her fault, honestly. I think they unfairly put the spotlight on her, and she just hasn't been able to live up to it. All right. I was gonna bring up right now, real quick, on the steroid thing. Apparently, old Anderson Silva believes that he had tainted supplements. And he's hoping that to be clear to fight Roy Jones Jr. Fred, you buying that shit?
I mean, no. I guess all those hoes were just sleepy when they were hanging out with Bill Cosby too. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the fuck out of here. I don't know. No, not even. I don't believe this a little bit. That's and listen here's the realistic thing.
Yeah.
Maybe he's right. But this is the problem with being a cheater. I don't know. I'm not going to just take his fucking word for it, man. I'm not just going to assume he's telling the truth. Like, no, tainted supplements. Bro, you realize that's what all the cheaters say.
Right.
Like, that's what everybody says now. That's the common go-to. It's like, it must have been a tainted supplement. Like, what? No, man, I don't buy that shit at all. Listen. If he wants to box Roy Jones Jr., for all of me, cool beans. Go box Roy Jones Jr. Like I couldn't give two shits about that anyways. But if he wants to like compete in MMA, what like he does and shit, like, nah, bro, you got caught cheating. Even with him getting caught cheating, I don't give a shit if he boxes Roy Jones Jr. I mean, I couldn't give two fucks about that. Let them go fucking box in Zimbabwe for all of me.
Like I watched Roy Jones fight on Fight Pass the other night, and it was awful. Honestly, if you put someone that was even close to his level, it would have been a pretty bad night for Roy Jones, in my opinion. Look like he barely trained for it. He just fucked up someone's sparring partner. Anyway, Dave Madden says Anderson Silva versus Roy Jones Jr. for a Fight Pass main event. Fuck it, they want to do it. We'll probably end up watching anyway. All right. Let's what was the other one that I want to bring up too? Fuck, where is it? Fuck it. Whatever. Let's bring up. I remember. Oh fuck, yes. God damn it. Vitor Belfort against Lyoto Machida at UFC 224. Look, first of all, it's not your main event. Stop buying the shit that he's main event. But a lot of people are saying, well, that's a prelim, a feature prelim. And the first thing I said was, that's going to be on the main card, ladies and gentlemen. You don't make that fight to make it a prelim. Right, Kyle?
That's clear. It's clearly not a prelim. Get the fuck out of here. That wouldn't be a prelim on a pay-per-view. I mean, it's still two names that have reigned supreme over the sport for many, many, many years. I bet you that you couldn't even find a contract that would allow them to be on the prelims.
Yeah, no way.
I guarantee you both of those guys have main card in their fucking contracts to begin with. So yeah, that's not going to happen. And the quality of the fight is a main card. I mean, that's a good listen. It's two guys who are probably past their primes. Certainly Belfort. Machida there's a little bit more of a question mark there as to where he is. Belfort clearly past his prime. He's at least been smart enough to change his game up, right? Belfort fights very differently now than he did even 2 or 3 years ago. So, that's good. But yeah, this is pretty good matchmaking. I mean, I don't believe this is a rematch. I believe this is their first time, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy. These guys managed to float around the top for so long and never meet up. So
I
it's
think
good matchmaking. I like this fight a lot. I'm down.
I think they tried to get him when they were in their prime. I think one of them refused to fight the other. Or they refused to fight each other. From what I remember, it was years ago, obviously. But yeah, I mean, look, man, it's what up.
No, I agree with Kyle here. Like this is exactly what we've been wanting for a Vitor Belfort. These guys that are kind of past their prime, right? We don't want them trying to take out young lions. We don't want them, getting brutally beaten. This is exactly the type of matchup that you would want for these guys that are pretty much on the verge of retiring, right? So I mean, why not be happy for this fight to happen? And who the hell in their right mind would think this is a prelim? Come on. It wouldn't even be the curtain jerker on the pay-per-view. I mean, this has got to be like at least, 3 or co-main event if it's that bad of a card where it doesn't have that many names. That could at least be a co-main event. So
yeah, no, definitely it'll be a co-main event. I just want to know who's gonna get as a main event. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's talk about this weekend. UFC Orlando. That's an odd place to take a card, honestly, but it is a fight night. Main event, Josh Emmett versus Jeremy Stevens. I'll throw out the numbers real quick. UFC Fight Pass are on prelims at 4:15 p.m. Eastern, 1:15 p.m. Pacific time. Fox prelims. It's on Fox. It's Big Fox. I just realized it's Big Fox. It's not even FS1. Fox prelims 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. And main card on Fox, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Obviously headlined by Josh Emmett against Jeremy Stevens. Josh Emmett, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he on anybody's radar until he knocked out Lamas, right? Like he wasn't even ranked.
Nope.
Right?
Yeah, and he has he went from unranked to number 5 overnight.
Hey, what the fuck? He's ranked higher than Jeremy Stevens, I think.
I think so. Can we talk about the fact that during the commercials, I don't know if you guys noticed this, that he says that he's a knockout artist, he's a heavy-handed guy. Go look at his record. How many knockouts does he actually have on his record?
That's a good question.
I think maybe like 2, maybe 2.
He's heavy-handed. He's heavy-handed, but
I mean, he ain't no knockout artist. He ain't no Vitor Belfort back in the day.
Well, listen,
sleep curling toes.
Jeremy Stevens isn't a knockout artist either, and that narrative has existed for quite some time. So,
hey,
this is true.
You know what?
Tell me I'm wrong, Fred. You use stats and tell me I'm wrong.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. I'll admit that. Hold on, wait a minute. I'll admit that I'm a little stoned. So before I start here, are we talking about the little heathen?
We're talking about Jeremy Stevens.
And you're saying he's not a knockout artist?
Yes.
Okay, am I the one that's high?
No.
Hey man, I'm just gonna throw
highlight reel for you, cock.
I'm gonna throw a stat out. Hey, 27 wins for James Stevens in his career, 18 are TKO.
Okay,
or knockout.
Okay, so 18 of those. Okay, so would you like to take a look at where those were coming?
I'm looking.
In the Iowa regional scene between 2005 and 2007. Literally, it's just called Iowa Regional.
Shall I show you a highlight of when he sent RDA into the nether regions?
Back in 2008? Yeah, go ahead. Send it over to me.
I don't give a fuck if it happened in 2000. Never. It happened.
Well, if it happened in 2000, never, and you couldn't send it to me, Fred.
Who else? I mean, no, man, Jeremy Stevens be knocking motherfuckers out. Hey, listen, who are we talking about originally? That we got off the who's the original? Not
Josh.
Josh Emmett. Okay, yeah. Fuck. I don't know about being a knockout artist. There's a lot of room to be debate to be had there for sure. Yeah, I mean, he did have a great knockout in his last fight, but let's not get too fucking carried away with him. At least because he's a jiu-jitsu guy, right? Am I wrong, or is he a grappler?
He's a grappler.
Yeah, Emmett's
right, but right. That's his strong suit per se.
Okay. Can I just say, Fred, because I want to just real quick. Okay, let me just do this for you, because I think that you are. Let me give you the guys that Jeremy Stevens has knocked out. All right, and it won't take the long because it's a pretty short list. Okay, all right. Duho Choi most recently. Okay, now that was pretty impressive, but let's also not forget Duho Choi came off of a fucking life-changing fight. That fight against Cub Swanson was life-changing. Like, that dude's not ever going to be the same. And it could have very well been proved right there. We don't know. Okay. But anyway, regardless, I won't make excuses for every guy. But so Duho Choi this year, okay, most recent. Okay. Before that, the last person he knocked out was Dennis Bermudez back in 2015. Okay.
Who's notoriously hard to knock out. Let's not just gloss over this if we're going to do this. And wait a minute. Who has he been fighting, though? You also have to mention that the guys that he's not knocking out are guys like fucking Frankie Edgar.
No, I understand. No. I understand that, but we're saying he's a knockout artist. So who he's fighting doesn't matter. Okay, we're saying he's a knockout artist. So in order to be a knockout artist, you got to be knocking a bunch of people out. Okay, so let me keep going down. Duho Choi, before that, Dennis Bermudez back in 2015. Okay, before that, he had the kick against Ronnie Asen back in 2013. Okay, so there's 2 years in between those. Okay, before that, you got to go back to Marcus Davies back in 2011. So another 2 years. So he has 2 years in between knockouts. Okay. And then before that, you got to go back to Dos Anjos in 28, which is 3 years. Right. And that's it.
Well, Kyle, if you put all those together in a nice little Fox Sports package there, that looks pretty damn awesome.
There it is. Right? If that's what we're calling artistry, then sure. Not a knockout artist, go back and watch Conor McGregor when he was going through the featherweight division. That's a knockout artist. Guy who every single fight, every 6 months is knocking the personalities fighting. That's a knockout artist.
You're right. You're right, but that's the thing with the promotion for this event, right? For me, watching that commercial that they kept having was, these knockout artists, heavy-handed, these guys are gonna knock each other out, blah blah blah, and I'm like, no, it'll be an interesting fight, but I don't think anybody's gonna get put to sleep. I think this is gonna go to a decision. I don't know what you guys think about this.
Shit, I think Jeremy Stevens is getting a knockout, you cocksucker.
Listen, he is a knockout artist.
Knockout artist. He's fucking singing that bald sissy a lullaby.
Oh, get out of here! And listen, the pick is my pick'em is Jeremy Stevens, and I think he probably does so by knocking him out. I think he strings together 2 straight knockouts, which would be the first time in his UFC career where he had consecutive knockouts. So congratulations to him if he's able to do that. He is an artist after all, so it'd be the first time there's not a 2-year gap between him getting a knockout. But I mean, he is an artist. But yeah, I think he probably is able to get a knockout here. But I mean, it's not like Emmett seems like he's undersized, but he's really not. I mean, it's weird. Emmett has odd proportions. But also don't be shocked. Emmett goes down to 145. He sets the UFC record for most knockdowns in a round. Now, it was against a jobber, but regardless, that's still an impressive thing to be able to do. And it was just a weird fight overall. But anyway, sets the record for most knockdowns in a round, and then goes in and fights Ricardo Lamas on short notice, and he doesn't land a lucky punch. He stalked him around that octagon. He was in control from the moment that bell rang until the moment he got that knockout. And when he got the knockout, he knocked him out. I mean, it wasn't got dazed to go to the ground and you get finished. No. His body went stiff and he went to the ground. I mean, there's something there, but you're not going to do that to Jeremy Stephens. Like that's not how this works. Like, again, I hate to reuse an old, overused phrase, but there's levels to this shit. And Jeremy Stephens, he's on a different level. But I would have said the same thing about Ricardo Lamas. If right now Ricardo Lamas and Jeremy Stephens were fighting, I mean, would we really be all in on Jeremy Stephens? You know what I mean? I mean, not really. And I'm not saying we do the MMA math thing, but I'm just saying, like, I never would have, most people would not have thought that Emmett would have beat Lamas. I picked Emmett very publicly. I really thought that was kind of the perfect opponent for him at featherweight. Conversely, this is not. I mean, this is not the guy I wanted to see him fight next. I think Doo Ho Choi actually would have been a better fight.
Way better fight.
But obviously, you can't do that now because the loss and the whole. Yeah, you can't do that now. But yeah, Jeremy Stephens, this is not. This is a bad fight. But if Emmett goes out there and knocks out Jeremy Stephens, then obviously there's something here with Emmett. But that you got to see that. You got to see him string together one fight where there's a whole shit ton of knockdowns and then two straight quick knockouts. Then all right, Emmett's got something.
And Dave Madden says #team Emmett, #team Pain. So he's clearly going for his boy.
Yeah, dude, me too, man. Emmett and Griffin, I mean, are two guys that I'm rooting for 100%. I mean, I had Max on I did the Bellator companion, like I was just talking about earlier. Max was on there. We talked for 45 minutes on this companion. I mean, not about Bellator, obviously, but we talked for a long time. I like Max a lot. I mean, both Emmett and Max are in very dire situations that are going to be hard for them to overcome adversity and win their fights, but both of them at least have pathways to victory.
No, certainly. I can fully agree with that. It's just, I'm with you. I'm taking Jeremy Stephens in that, but the whole talk about Jeremy Stephens being a knockout artist reminds me of that presser where Connor turns around and goes, "Who the fuck is that guy?" Like, that shit was.
It'll never not be funny.
Dude, it'll never die.
It'll always be funny. It'll always be funny.
People still use that fucking phrase.
I'll give it to Jeremy Stephens, though. Like a year or two later, he took a picture with Connor's
his mom. Yeah.
It was like, your mom knows who this guy is. It was like, zing, Connor.
Good shit.
Like, damn. Connor's calling his mom like, "Mom, what the fuck? You can't be doing that shit." No. All right. Co-main event is it's actually a pretty good fight at 115. Jessica Andrade against Tisha Torres. That being said, I think people are picking like Andrade to just dominate, and I don't think it's gonna be like a domination. I do think Andrade's gonna win. All right. I think people are underestimating Tisha Torres just a little bit, though. Anybody agree?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's me. I'm in that camp. I think Andrade is going to dominate the brisk gust of wind. I am not a tiny tornado fan. I don't give a shit what she did in her last fight. I think Andrade is going to throw her a fucking Brazilian gangster beating.
I'm with Fred on this one.
I think Tisha's gonna put up a good fight for the first couple of rounds, and then Andrade's gonna just fuck her up. But I just think for at least a little bit,
because you're racist and Mexican.
We already know she's got that. Time out. Tisha's Puerto Rican. Cut the shit. I'm Mexican. She's Puerto Rican. Chill out.
You're all Latin.
And now
we got racist. That's fucked up. Anyway, all right, Jesse, what were you gonna say?
No, I just agree with Fred. I mean, I've now used his phrase. She's a brisk gust of wind. She's not a tornado. I don't think.
Dave Mann is losing his shit. He's like, the brisk gust of wind. I'm dead.
It's funny, dude.
Yeah, she ain't no tornado.
I think that. I think Andrade, I got no problem with Tisha Torres, but Andrade is, first of all, I disagree with Eddie on that part of it too. If Tisha Torres is able to kind of mount an offensive to start things off, I would say she's probably going to win the fight. I mean, it is definitely no mystery that if this fight goes into the third round and Tisha Torres is still hanging in strong, that Andrade could very well be starting to slip. I mean, let's again talk about getting amnesia. Let's not get amnesia about what Angela Hill was able to do to Andrade on short notice. I mean,
you know what? I'm changing my pick. I'm going with the Latin one. I got to stick with my Latin people. Fred, hate me, whatever you want. Whatever.
I knew it. I'm not surprised a bit.
I'm not surprised a bit. Hey, Zeus.
The Briscoes to win is still killing me. All right, let's. If we're done with that fight, real quick.
Real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
Jessica Andrade's gonna beat that ass. Get out of here.
Oh yeah, she's gonna fuck her. No, hey, real talk. Jessica's gonna fuck her up. I'm sorry. Anyway,
you know what up? You guys can all eat a big fat one when she gets knocked out.
He goes,
whoa.
Jesse goes, he goes, never mind, guys. I'm changing my pick again.
Gets knocked out? Now I know you're flying the fucking flag.
Did you just say Tisha Torres is going to knock out
Yeah.
Jessica Andrade?
Oh, no.
Boy.
I sure did.
We can't see him. I mean, obviously we know Fred is smoking something. I don't know what Jesse's doing, but
yeah, he's in Cali.
He's on back or some shit.
And Cali.
Hey, Zeus is trolling us.
He's on bath salts.
He got crazy. Real quick, interesting fight at light heavyweight. Vince St. Preux against either Latifi.
Define interesting.
Okay, weird. Is that a better word? Weird.
I was like, I'm gonna have to Google the word interesting because I don't know.
No, weird. Weird fight. Interesting because I'm gonna be like
interesting. A simile for boring, or
I know, right? I'm just kind of like, see how this is gonna go down. That's literally. Like, I have no
Latifi.
No.
So what you're saying there is right on. It is an interesting fight because it is. If anyone who has a solid read on how OSP Latifi's gonna go down, they're out of their mind. Like, you have no idea how this fight's going to go. Latifi could be beating the shit out of OSP, and OSP lands a front flip heel to the top of Latifi's head with 1 minute left in the third. Latifi could go out and bulldog choke OSP. Like, honestly, like, we don't know. We have no idea how this fight's going to go. This two very unpredictable guys fighting each other is. Yeah, stay away from this fight if you're a bettor. It's not worth it unless the line is absurd. If the line's absurd, then bet the other way. But dog or pass.
Yeah. All right. And then a fight you were talking about earlier, sort of Max Griffin against Mike Perry. A lot of people going on Mike Perry here. Obviously, knockout with the power and everything. What are you picking there, Kyle?
Who am I picking to win that fight?
Yeah, Perry Griffin.
I'm just gonna say Max and fuck it. Perry lacks a lot of technique.
Yes,
He's been boxing since he was a kid, and he has a street mentality when it comes to fighting. And both of those things are gonna make you pretty good. But here's the thing: Mike Perry gets extremely frustrated. The worst part of Mike Perry's game is his head, and it's not pre-fight stuff. Pre-fight stuff, his head is fine. But Max Griffin is clearly going to be the more technical guy. Clearly, he's not going to have So Max Griffin doesn't have the same kind of. I'm trying to think how to phrase this. Like, Max doesn't excel in any one area as much as Mike excels in boxing, right? But clearly more well-rounded, and again, more technical. I think even more technical on the feet. Honestly, I think he chooses his shots better. I think he can, even when he gets rocked, he doesn't get rocked in the same way. And as far as the mental game is concerned, it's not even close. Like, it's not even close. And I'm not trying to be shitty to Mike Perry. I like Mike, but it's not even close, man. He gets so frustrated. Even in fights where he's winning, he gets visibly frustrated. And, when he was tearing through the regional scene and island fights and stuff, and even when he makes his debut and blasts through him, it wasn't an issue. You didn't see the frustration because he was just blasting through people and it didn't matter. As soon as Max does what I think Max is going to do, which Max is going to stand in the middle and Mike is going to stand in the middle and they're going to bang. And as soon as he realizes that the fight is not going the way he thinks it's going to go, he's going to start getting frustrated. And when he starts getting frustrated, what Max Griffin is going to do is he's going to turn on the technique, and he's going to start holding him up against the cage. He's going to make Mike extremely frustrated in his hometown. And because it's his hometown, because he wants to put on a show, when he starts getting held up against the fence and a boring fight starts unfolding, he's going to lose his mind. And that's going to be his undoing. That is how I see this fight going. Am I shocked if Mike Perry comes out and knocks out Max Griffin? None whatsoever. None whatsoever. And if you look on Mike Perry's record and you look at the pedigree of Max Griffin, this is the guy who on paper he should be beating. But and that's exactly why Mike Perry took this fight. He wanted this fight because he knows that. He knows that this is the type of guy he's supposed to beat. I just think we are underestimating what Max Griffin brings to the table. So there you go. That's my full rant. Ride or fucking die, man. Ride or die. I'm probably totally wrong here, but I'm all in. I'm all in on Max, and I can't even fully explain it.
Yeah, it's fair enough, man. Dave Mann actually made his point on the comment saying Max will be faster, more technical, have better cardio. The UFC messed up pairing him with Max. Perry hasn't been talking his craziness to Max because he knows he's getting a violent fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mike Perry doesn't need to build this fight up as much as normal because it's in Orlando. So I think he's really relying on the hometown. He's going to have a huge crowd for this, and he really will. I mean, he'll have a huge crowd in that house. When they announce his name, that place is going to get deafening. And that could fuck with Max, too. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, he's going to get booed out of the goddamn building, and you don't know how that affects people.
For sure. Brett?
Mike Perry is my spirit animal.
And, I love him, man. I love him. But dude, so is Max. Max is great too, man.
He's a good kid, but there's something about that Mike Perry character. I've been watching his little fucking interviews on the MMA Hour. After his first fight, he was fucking going to probation officer.
Yeah.
There's something about the kid. I like him. He puts all his every fight. I like that kid. I don't care whether I actually think he's going to win or not. I just want him to win, so I'm rooting for Mike Perry. Piss on all the technical analysis. First round TKO, baby.
piss on the thing that makes fighting.
Yeah. Fuck off. Well, listen, because at the end of the day, that's what makes these shows and all these rants very interesting. All these things could happen, or Mike Perry could come out and start him with the first overhand right.
Sure.
And all of the ideas of what could happen just go right out the door. So I definitely think he does have the power. It's in his hometown. He's coming off that L, right?
Yes.
Ponzinibbio. To Ponzinibbio. Yeah, I think he's going to come out shot out of the cannon. If Perry does not finish him in the first 3 or 4 minutes of the fight, it'll start getting interesting.
I mean, there's a boy. I mean, I guess when you look at some of this stuff, so who has the pathway for what we refer to as just quick finish, right? So I have a little spreadsheet I use for for betting and stuff. And one of the stats that we calculate is quick finish, right? And I mean, clearly, it's not even going to be fucking close. Probably the number one quick finish guy on the card is going to be Mike Perry. I mean, he is, that's how he wins. He wins by quick finishes, and you can never count a guy like that out. Someone who can finish a fight with one punch, you can never count out. And I don't think Max has that. I don't think Max has the kind of quick finishing. I don't think he's going to get a quick submission, right? I think his best chance would be to get a quick knockout, and I really just don't see that happening with a guy like Mike Perry. That's a tough fucking dude.
Right.
So, but you can't say the same thing about Mike Perry because it doesn't matter how tough you are. Mike Perry has violent power, and if he lands that shot, I don't care how tough your chin is, you're going down. So, yeah, I would say from that perspective, Perry has the quicker path to victory.
Does he?
That's true. I agree with what Kyle was saying. He definitely has the quicker path to victory. But I think the problem is that the game plan to how to beat Mike Perry and neutralize what he does best is out there. I think when you have a guy like when Ngannou was kind of tearing through the heavyweight division, right? We hadn't seen a good game plan against him up until Stipe did it. And now to this point, now everybody kind of has figured out what to do against a guy with that much power. And I think it's the same thing with Mike Perry. I think Ponzinibbio proved that if you have a smart game plan and you have a good enough chin, you could survive and really, really, like Kyle was saying, frustrate him and make him make a lot of mistakes. So I think Max here has a problem that if he doesn't apply that game plan, that's going to be it's his fight to lose, because the game plan is out there and it's very easy to follow. Look at what Alan Jouban did. Mike Perry was looking like a beast coming up up the division, and then he runs into Alan Jouban, who smartly kept himself on the outside, peppered him, really frustrated him, and neutralized everything that Mike Perry wanted to do. So I think if you're a smart fighter, you see all those game plans and you apply those, and I think that's the easiest path to victory for most guys. That being said, I think Mike Perry, he's a tough bastard, and he wants to put on a show. And like Fred said, he's going to be shot at a cannon, and I think that's what's going to help Max here to get register a TKO or KO here in that first round. He's going to be so overexcited, so overextend himself, and he's going to get countered and put away.
There you go. All right. Just a couple more fights on here. We're not really going to go into them. Henan Barag against Brian Kelleher is on here. Sarah McMahon against Mary Renau. Morose against Hill. Ben Saunders. Kilby Saunders against Alan Jouban. Sam Alvey against Marcin Prachnio, but a few other ones. But the one fight is not going to be on there. Gilbert Burns against was it Olivier Aubin-Mercier. He apparently Burns is not allowed to cut any more weight, which is interesting because it's a UFC, not Florida. So it's not the Florida Athletic Athletic Commission that's stopping him from cutting more weight. It's the UFC themselves. They're trying to police this shit themselves, the way that California did, right? With other people. So interesting little tidbit there. All right, Kyle, you have something on that?
No, I mean, I could talk about a bunch of shit if you want me to, but
no, that's all good. All right, anything else you guys want to bring up before we head out of here for the night?
Can I say one thing about Ben Saunders?
Sure.
I got this off my chest on the breakdown. I'm going to do it again. I'm friends with Ben Saunders on Facebook for some ungodly reason. I have no idea, but I somehow became friends with him on Facebook from something. And when Colby Covington was posting all that shit about Brazil or going all in, Ben Saunders decided he was going to go on Facebook and do these videos that got no traction and try to call out Covington and talk about his accent started to change as the videos went along. Like he started talking like Scarface, to a certain extent. Like he started support.
I remember that too.
It was let me just get this out of the way, just in case anyone could ever possibly have a question about this. If Colby Covington and Ben Saunders were to fight right now, Colby Covington would literally do whatever he wanted. They would be if he wanted to lift up Ben Saunders and spin him around and throw him against the octagon, that is what would happen. If he wanted to choke him, if he wanted to knock him out, whatever it is that Colby Covington wanted to do, he would do.
Yeah, he's come down at the knockout region there, Mr. Kyle. I don't think he's going to be knocking out fucking Killer Bee.
He's knocked out multiple people. It wouldn't be the first.
Well,
get the fuck out of here, Jeremy. Colby Covington is.
I didn't say he was a knockout artist. Get out of here, Fred.
Knocked out.
I didn't say
goddamn body.
I didn't say he was a knockout artist. I said he would knock out Ben Saunders if that's what he wanted to do. Yeah. If he wanted to knock out Ben Saunders, that's what he would do.
I gotta say, man, I used to think that Fred here was the biggest Connor dick rider. But oh my God, Kyle, you are the biggest dick rider of Colby Covington that I have ever seen.
Listen. We can all keep underestimating American wrestlers until they fucking out wrestle each and every one of us. But at some point, we got to stop disrespecting it and understand that is what wins fights.
Wow, Kyle, way to be a nationalist, buddy. Way to make it an American thing. Jesus.
American wrestling. Yeah, we can doubt the shit all we want. We can doubt it all we want.
Can I mention one thing? If you guys want to hear some funny podcasting, listen to Fred Kirby's podcast. Always giving his fans love and shout outs. Thank you, Fred, for your guys mentioning me. No, tell your co-podcaster there, no, I'm not a pimp. And women talking in the background are usually people that I'm around where my Wi-Fi is. So there you go.
I actually informed him after we went off air that, or maybe right there, that Jesus is married. So I don't think he's a pimp unless he leads a very 007-esque life that I'm not aware of.
He might. You never fucking know.
It's true. It's true. He is a man of much mystery.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, fellas. That's going to do it for tonight. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Dave Madden, I know Raider was here. Joe Tremendous. MMA Pixels. Everyone that tuned in. Appreciate you guys. My boy Daniel from San Antonio. Kyle, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at colbycovington2020.com. I will be starting that website up pretty soon. I think if anyone could beat Trump, it is Colby Covington.
Oh shit!
You can find me on Twitter at Love for Colby Covington forever. That's the number 4, not spelled out. I tried to write out 4, but it was too many characters.
Oh fuck! All right.
I hope you change it to that. I hope you change it to that just for like a day.
I
probably American Wrestling. Just at American Wrestling.
There's no A. It's just at American Wrestling.
American Wrestling.
And I don't know if it is. I mean, isn't Sage's sister Colby Northcutt? So really? I get it confused. Maybe I'm obsessed with her. I'm not sure.
She looks just like that dude, so it's like I don't know. Anyway, Fred is at Kirby_MMA. Jesse's at Spawat1983. I'm at Elo31. Appreciate all of you guys. Make sure you hit up the Instagrams and the fucking Twitters and all that shit. You guys have seen it before. Shout out to repthewarriors.com. Get yourself some gear, and of course, SpicePros.com. For myself, Kyle, Jesse, Fred, the whole team. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the shit. Good night and good night, Wilshire.